truck won't fit the station, and when we back in, the ladders will hit the wall. The ladders will break these ladder stanchions off the side of the truck. So that's why they're forward. If we need to pull a cross lay off the passenger side of the truck, it's just as easy as going to the other side once the hose comes off, but grabbing it and knowing where to grab it is where it can be a problem. You want to step up on the truck and just see where the top lay is. This lay right here, that's the long loop, this top loop goes to the nozzle. If I grab this loop and pull it out, once we get 8 feet out, I'm going to have the nozzle on that AAA. Keeping it together, you just deploy. Deploy like we do the other side until that last little whip line comes out. In the middle of the cross lay, there's a swivel in there that looks up, and it goes left or right, and that's what that one little joint of hose is hooked to. The reason that one little joint of hose is on there is if we need to change all the hose, we don't have to get up on the hose bed and down in that narrow little trough, get down in there and try to take a hose off and put a hose back on. We can make that connection right here. And by default, it actually makes it easy when you pull it off to know when you see that one coupling by itself right here, the hose bed is empty. And it's short enough that if for whatever reason that ever comes off the truck and we drive, it cannot touch the ground. So I made them that short so it's foolproof. So the front hose lay, you would just grab this and go. If you were only going to pull one hose lay, pull the front one and avoid the problem with the ladder. If you need to pull the other one from this side, you got 2 options. One, move the ladder, which is going to take a lot of time and it's probably not worth it. Or 2, just pull the hose but go over the ladder. What I mean by that is take the hose, even if you need to go that way, take the hose over the ladder and pull some hose out this way. You don't want to cheat right through this corner, because as you're coming out and you get a loop that tries to flip, you can get hose hung between the ladders, or you can get one of the hose couplings get hung on the corner of the ladder and give you problems. Then you have to come back with whatever you had, fold all that hose over itself unless you thought to lay it down, and come back and try to undo this. And once you start manipulating a AAA to get something untangled, you can actually put like a half hitch in it. You don't want to do that. You want the AAA to stay triple till it's on the ground. Once it's on the ground, you're good to go, good to charge it. So just avoid this little trough right here going that way. We've also got on the truck this gated Y. It's a 2.5 to 2.5 inches. It's on the truck here, but it can go anywhere. If we wanted to put this fitting on the other side of the truck and add more hoses, we can. If we had a bunch of hoses on this truck and flowing water a bunch of places, it would possibly be a really, really intense mop up on a barn or some type of a feed fire, or maybe one of these Quail Valley junkyards that's got multiple vehicles that a fire may have gotten in and under and around multiple vehicles that we need to mop up. But instead of moving back and forth to a whole bunch of vehicles, you may want to pull a line to one area and just staff it as needed to mop up. If we need to do that, you can add hoses to this line and get extra nozzles off the truck, and these hoses will just come off the hose bed or another truck and just come right to it and be good to go. Another
fitting,
sir?
That's a smaller fitting.
That's 1.5 inches. That's the same as the threads on those. Yes, sir. Another thing we can use this gated Y for, if we come up to an incident as a mutual aid or even our own incident, and there's already a line on the ground that is no longer being pumped by an apparatus. Say another apparatus had to leave to go get water and they left their line on the ground, or their apparatus broke or whatever. Instead of us pulling our line down, if we choose to staff that line, we can hook their existing 1.5 inch lines right to our truck and not even take our hose off the truck. You know, there's a lot of things you could play what if, but just know that this fitting is here and it can go on any of our 2.5 discharges around the truck. There's 2 on this side, 1 on the back, and 1 on the other side. We can move this to any of them. You can also use this if you need to get water out of the truck. Sometimes I use it after we've had a hot fire and I want some water on me, or you got something on you that you want to rinse off, even without the truck running. Open number 3 discharge. If I open this valve right now, it's just going to be the water that's in the pump that will run out. But you can come over here and crack the line, rinse your hands, wash the blood off the back of them, whatever, if you get battery acid or something on your gear and you don't need a wash down or whatever, but you just need some water, whatever you have, you can come to this. But we need to have a valve open at the truck. Know that if you open this valve and you get more than just a little like I did, if you open it and get a few gallons out, you're actually putting air in the pump. So it's a way to cheat water out of the truck, but you need to know what the downside of that is. So if you open this, it's always best to do it when the truck's got at least this much water in it and the tank to pump valve is open. If the tank to pump valve is closed and the tank's completely full and you open this, you can actually put air in the pump. And the way the truck's designed, it's real easy for that to work itself out, but it's just a problem you can have. This says large diameter discharge, and it's because it's actually a 3-inch valve and a 3-inch piece of pipe that comes right here, but then we got it necked down to 2.5. So it does not put out any more water than any of our other discharges that do not say cross lay. If they say cross lay, it's an 1.5-inch valve and it's an 1.5-inch line that it goes through before it gets to the hose. Everywhere else on the truck is a 2.5 or a 3. So this one on the pump panel, it will say large diameter discharge. That's just tells you it's this one. All of these are named, all but this one has a number, and they're all 3 different, and everyone's a different color, and that's going to help you get off. If you have somebody at the pump panel and we need to get water from somewhere, if they're up there and you're on the ground, tell them which one you need water from. That way they don't have to go and check or double check. The one on the back should say rear discharge. The cross lays have identifiers on each side. There's a number 1 and a number 2. I wish they weren't red and orange. I wish those 2 colors on those were separated by something more than just red and orange, but that's what it is. Be certain you tell them you're at the number 1 or you're at the number 2, and then they'll get you what you need from up top. Or if you're the one up there, know what we're asking for. If we say charge number 1, we may have fire going and we may be flowing something and need to shut one of those down because we need to change a nozzle or add hose. Well, we may say we need you to shut down cross lay number 1. Well, be sure that's the only one you shut if somebody's fighting fire on the other. A lot of different things we can do with that. It's really nice whenever we load the truck and have the ability in the hose to make the 2 cross lays 2 different colors. I always like one of them all red, one of them all yellow. So when they're on the ground and you know that you have a number 1 cross lay here at the truck and it's the yellow hose, you know which hose it is on the ground whenever they get all jumbled and which nozzle you're picking up. That's nice to have, not need to have, but if we ever have all the hose off the truck and we're going to put stuff back, different hose, if we already have red hose on one, put the yellow on the other, if there's enough hose on the truck. That's, like I said, that's one of those nice to have, not need to have things. Any questions on the cross lays or this side of the truck? Is if we don't have the ability to get our truck close enough to the problem, say this is going to be a barn or something and we just need to go a long way, you want to take the hose lay and the gated Y. This should be 100 foot of 2.5-inch hose and then 1 inch of that. And it really needs more inch of that. Alright, that's good. That actually should have been more 1.5 inches on that end. The reason for having a lay like this is if we have a problem, say it's a barn or a feedlot fire, something where we need to be pumping water farther away, we have friction loss in that 1.5-inch hose. Our friction loss is less in one joint of 2.5 than it is 2 joints of 1.5 plus all the extra hose we lay out. So we gain 100 feet of 2.5. If we want to pump 2 lines, that literally just saved us 4 joints of our 1.5-inch line. Does not have to go as far as that gated Y. He can start dealing with the problem right there, and now however much hose we need to add to get to our problem, he can be fighting fire while we start pulling hose and getting the nozzle and dealing with getting hooked up to the other side of that gated Y. So we can fight fire while we continue to build our hose lane. We're not going to. That's why that's what I'm talking about. This is supplying